So for this final project, I had originally intended on using a portion of road on Southeast 38th Street in Ocala, Florida. That particular section of road has a unusually steep bank in it and a pretty tight turn given the residential area that it's in. It was a lot of fun to drive on in high school, so much so that me and my friends ended up nicknaming it Dead Man's Turn, mostly because of how fast everybody allegedly went around it. But due to most likely the way that it came to be under the jurisdiction of the county, from talking to the engineer, sounds like it was most likely like a dirt paved access road that ended up being paved and then kind of de facto became under the jurisdiction of the county. So there were no real readily accessible records or plans for that particular roadway. So I ended up doing a different portion, and the main study in this topic on the super elevation properties will be on a portion of County Road 35 up near my old house in Ocala. This road also has steeper than usual super elevation for, relative to the rest of the roads in this area. So in my initial analysis of this road, as you travel north, it is a left to right curve with both curves being super elevated and there being a transition in between these curves. Now the transition, it just kind of comes around to the left and then smoothly transitions into the second curve. There's no real straight piece of road or anything like that in between them. It just transitions straight from one curve into the next on the left to right banking. Just from driving these roads all through high school and everything, I would estimate the first curve, the left-hander, to be at about a 6-degree bank, and I would estimate the second curve to the right to be about a 5-degree bank. Now in, survey instead of racetrack terms, that comes out to a 10.5% grade at peak super for the first curve and an 8.75% grade respectively for peak super of the second curve. Now for Marion County, there's no real online database for road plans or anything like that. So initially I thought that I would have to go to the records office to get these kind of records. Turns out that's not the case. They ended up directing me to the county engineer's office, which oversees all the road construction and things like that. From there, it was a fairly simple conversation with the assistant county engineer, just going back and forth, talking about the type of plans I was looking for and the characteristics of the road I was looking for. We ended up settling on this particular portion of County Road 35 and a recent project of a shoulder widening and repave and everything of that road, just general overall improvement of it. So once we settled on that particular road section, got an idea of everything I was looking for, he sent me a PDF of the plan files, and on I went. Now, in studying these plans and looking at them and comparing them to my initial driver's seat analysis, turns out the bank is a little bit less steep than I had originally thought. Turns out that beginning at station 17 on through stations 27 plus 62, it is a peak super of 8.2% grade for the first curve, again, as you're moving north, the left-hander curve. And a peak super of the right-hander is an 8% grade, beginning peak at 30 plus 23 and going on to station 40 plus 76. Now, just as I had predicted in the my initial analysis of this road, there is no straight section of road in between the curves. It is a smooth transition, again, from one to the other in the banking. And I expected there to be when it flattened out, I expected there still to be a crown there. Turns out there isn't. There really isn't any sense in putting one because in terms of drainage, you're going from a super elevated curve one, curving around going to the next super elevated curve. So there's no real need to put a crown in the road. So at station 28 plus 95, it is just a flat 0% grade, no crown, no nothing, just flat road. So in conclusion, my takeaways from this project are really just seeing all the engineering and all the planning and everything that goes into making what's seemingly a simple just left to right curve out in Ocala. There really is a lot of engineering that goes into everything from the drainage, the amount of dirt that has to be taken out, added in, where it has to go, compacting, things like that, and the amount of engineering that has to go into it to make it safe for all drivers and all vehicles. I would see everything from sports cars to semi trucks drive on this road. So, once again, in conclusion, all the time and energy that goes into this, it really is worth it. It's worth it to get the road and the curves right the first time. And spending time to get it right the first time makes it safe for all drivers and all vehicles, and has the unintended side effect of giving some back road riding high school kids a place to have fun when there's no other drivers on the road.